sure fun to watch. We love what we do, we're drinking every brew. Man, we talk some shit, but we're telling the truth. Yeah, we're the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, raising some hell and making some noise. Yeah, we're the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, we're here to have fun and we hope you enjoy. We're here to have fun.
All right, everybody, well, welcome to the YouTube part of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. We are we're in strength tonight. We didn't think we were going to be, but I thought I was going to have to do this alone, but I didn't have to.
I am.
Xavier pulled it together at the last minute through the works of, like usual, whenever he has to do something with me, it's kind of like Moses parts the sea, and he's able to do it, right?
I think I might have invented time travel, but here I am.
I'm going to see. I think we got to point that camera a little bit more that way. Did that go better? Yeah. All right. I got to sit up here. I like that.
Now you're going to make
That's
me
what
sit
they
up.
do. All right. So, tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about...
We're going to talk a lot,
well, yes. We're going to be talking about Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. I believe, actually, there is one right behind. If you go down there, the first bottle behind it is the Elijah Craig that we did. I'll show that. I'll hold the benchmark. You grab the Elijah Craig from there. Then I'll give you the benchmark back. All right. And then this is this. And yes, we have a bunch of lights. One of the cool things was that I didn't know, and this is going to be your YouTube extra, but this is where all of our stuff comes in effect. But the number on the Elijah Craig is, on this one, is Y622. Now, the other barrel proofs that we have here, we have a toasted barrel, we have an Elijah Craig 18 year from last year, and then we have a barrel proof A121 and barrel proof B520. And I believe this here is a small batch, single barrel selected by Ohio Liquor. So one of the things that we got the whole aspect of what is happening with Elijah Craig. I can't believe what's happening up there, but someone's getting their teeth drilled at the moment, it sounds like. But at the same time, this particular, I gotta remember what these particular Elijah Craigs. Elijah Craig for a long time was a small batch. There was no barrel strength. There was no toasted barrel. They were releasing some of the older, I think there was a 12 year, then there was a 15 and then an 18. This is an 18 year. I think they came out with, I'm not exactly sure what they're coming out with this year, but Elijah Craig is distilled at Heaven Hill. But remember, and that would be in Louisville. I mean, it's aged in Bardstown.
The rick houses are in Bardstown.
They are
but
now...
The distillation is in Louisville.
Right, and they are now building a distillery in Bardstown at the Heaven Hill plant. That is in the works. Colin O'Driscoll is the master distiller, but prior to that was Denny Potter. Denny Potter was at Maker's Mark, went to Heaven Hill, then came back to Maker's Mark. And when Denny Potter went back to Maker's Mark, Connor O'Driscoll was at Brown and Foreman. He was working with Woodford and Old Forester. but Woodford was a project of his that he was going into. But he was used to traveling from different distilleries, working for Old Foreman in living in Louisville, and then going out to Frankfurt area all the time where the Woodford distillery was. And now the Louisville distillery, he's going back and forth between the Louisville and the Bardstown distillery. About the same distance, that little triangle down there. Now, the stuff that he's getting ready to do is coming, I believe his first stuff is next year. But, so, the other aspect of what I got to do, what I actually got to do when I got to go on the Kentucky Bourbon Festival barrel pick with Connor to pick a barrel strength Elijah Craig. Now last year they did an Elijah Craig pick, but it wasn't barrel proof.
Correct.
So this Elijah Craig this year for Kentucky Bourbon Festival is going to be barrel strength. So that was a blast. Working with Justin Thompson, Christine, I don't remember her last name, but she writes for Whiskey Advocate, and then also we went with Randy and myself and Connor, and that was just a fantastic pick, and the barrel was super. So then this past 2 weeks ago, we did bourbon your own way. What is it?
You Do Bourbon.
You Do Bourbon. Thank
We
you.
did that with under the excellent guide and tutelage of Herb Schwartz. Thanks,
Yes.
Herb.
Yes, and Herb was very knowledgeable.
Extremely knowledgeable and just a lot of fun.
And You Do Bourbon is Heaven Hill's barrel selection for the general public, and
Right.
they do batches of 10 barrels. And what they do, they basically pick 10 barrels, batch them together, and that becomes the batch for the visitor center.
Right, and then you taste the bourbon,
Right.
and you can pick which bottle
So
you wish to bottle for.
they had
yourself.
Larceny, they had Elijah Craig, which was
And-
at barrel strength,
and
Larceny
Bernheim.
and Bernheim, which is a wheat
Wheated
whiskey.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I was kind of excited going in because I do like what's happening with wheat whiskey, but that wasn't the Bernheim wheat whiskey barrel strength. That one just wasn't very exciting. You know, some people it might be, but for myself, I was thinking I was going to go with that wheat whiskey, and we just didn't. I just didn't go. Now, I was impressed with the Elijah Craig. I did like that, but I had been on the Elijah Craig barrel pick where we picked a single barrel, and what I was tasting was the highest proof batch that they've produced to date. It was 100. Well, I'll tell you what it is because it's sitting right here.
132.8.
132.8, 66.4. It's Y622. And it was, 132.8 for a barrel proof was high.
They dropped those 10 barrels on Tuesday, and we bottled that Friday.
Right. So what you get to do is you get to taste the Larceny, then you get to and the Bernheim and the Elijah Craig, and they tell you what the tasting notes were for the batch and everything. Now, I'm not sure if they were keeping up because on the Elijah Craig, I really didn't taste anything what the tasting notes were. You know, but tasting notes are tasting notes. There's no doubt about it. But you and Roxy liked that high proof, and I knew she liked it. I liked it, but again, when you're getting in 132, a lot of times for me, some of the taste, I know it's there, but it gets blown out by the proof. Now, I'm not saying I don't like it. I liked it. But then the Larceny, which was 121 at barrel proof, I enjoyed that too. Now, it was an easy pick for me. I know because I'm picking with my wife, Roxy. She's picking. I'm picking. We're both going to obviously, after you're done, they give you a bottle of whatever you pick. An empty bottle, no label, no nothing. Let you go wash it, dry it, and bottle it. And bottling's fun. The whole thing, we've got, I'm going to throw up on the YouTube on this one. I'll throw up some video on it. But this whole, what would you say, the bottling aspect of it was fantastic fun.
It was just cool because you got to bottle it, you got to stick the labels on there. You detailed what it was on the tags. It was neat.
Most people went with the Elijah Craig. The line was bigger for that. But I picked the Larceny because, one, I don't want 2 bottles of Elijah Craig because, as you can see right here, I've got a shit ton of Elijah Craig already, plus another bottle coming from the barrel pick I did from Kentucky Bourbon Festival. I'm infested with Elijah Craig. It's one of the reasons why we're doing...
Infested. I think inundated would be a better
Infested. I'm infested. It has become an infestation in my area. I still got
it's an infestation you welcome.
Oh, I didn't say that.
Tried to deter
I didn't say it was a
all.
negative infestation, but we got to drink some of this fucking shit. So, anyways, that's what we're going to be doing tonight. So that allows us, just so you know, everybody, that was the little bit of extra. We talked about the Elijah Craig. When we get to the main podcast, which I'm about to start right here, I got to get everything ready. There's a phone. And I'm sure that's ready to go. So we're ready to go, and I'm going to get this started with... we're going to get started on the regular podcast right here. I'm just going to make sure that as we do this, here we go.
Dant Crossing, Gethsemane, Kentucky. Timeless hospitality that stirs the spirit. Dant Crossing is a one-of-a-kind destination for unforgettable weddings, memorable corporate events, day trips, and weekend getaways. The pastoral campus is anchored by Old Distillery and includes an amphitheater that seats 2,000, a 12-acre lake for fishing and unique lodging options, creating an immersive experience that's rooted in the community and culture of our little slice of Kentucky. More attractions will open soon at Dant Crossing, including our 21,000 square foot distillery, which we will have the ability to produce 15,000 barrels of spirit each year, a network of wooded walking trails, fully functional private train depot, farm-to-table restaurant, and the Legacy, a premier wedding and events venue. Whether you're looking to host an event, book a stay, or reserve a tasting, we're ready to welcome you. Learn more at dantcrossing.com.
This is Alan Bishop, head alchemist at Spirits of French Lick. Be on the lookout for a brand new bottled and bond Solomon Scott rye whiskey. Made from a mash composed of 65% rye, 35% corn, and 5% victory malt. This 5-year-old 100 proof rye whiskey is a throwback to early 1800s style rye whiskeys of the Ohio Valley. Named after the legendary Daisy Spring Mill distillery owner turned moonshiner Solomon Scott of Paoli, Indiana. Remember, drink responsibly and never drink and drive.
Oh, show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. Show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. For if we don't find the next whiskey bar, I tell you we must die. I tell you we must die. I tell you, I tell you, I tell you we must die.
All right, we are back for another awesome podcast of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. We are fresh off our Kentucky trip. It's
we're getting ready for another Kentucky trip.
Yes, exactly.
It seems like all we ever do is go to Kentucky.
Or we went to Springfield too.
Springfield.
It's just like this from the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, after the leaving on that Thursday, coming back on Sunday, leaving on Tuesday for the barrel pick down in the New Riff for Kentucky Bourbon Festival at New Riff on Tuesday, and then coming back on Tuesday. That's a Kentucky trip in one day. Then driving on Wednesday, leaving at noon, 2.5 hours to Springfield, doing the Mother Stewart's brewery cigar pairing, bourbon tasting,
which was awesome.
Which Andy Camden was just an awesome freaking host for us. It was just, and then now we kind of had a little bit of time to recover from that. But the weekend kind of went through, but that was Father's Day, so there was a little bit of what would you say, pop and circumstance on the weekend, and then now we're getting into we are leaving Saturday morning for the Alan Bishop experience in Louisville. So
that's gonna rock.
And then also we're shout out to Stacy Pritchard, who is the manager at Watch Hill proper. I finally can say it. I mean, I don't know why. It's like I call it Clock Watch proper. I got the proper right most of the time, but it's like Orange proper Clock. Yeah, it's like
okay,
exactly.
Stanley.
Yeah, exactly. So I got that finally down, and then, but tonight. So we're going back on the road for another exciting weekend, but I just think this one will be high praise.
It'll be one of the excitingest.
But I know that one of the things that's happening July 1st that I found out through Ohio Liquor is that Penelope whiskey bourbon is going to be sold in Ohio. And we are working on, and I believe it's 90%. We got the barrel room. Thank you, Carrie, for Thursday night, August 11th. Penelope is doing I believe an Ohio barrel pick with Ohio Liquor, and then they're gonna in Columbus, and they're gonna drive up, and they are going to do a tasting and launch of Penelope from the barrel room in North Canton. So everybody mark your calendar for Thursday, August 11th, 7 p.m. So far, that's a good one. Set that aside. That's going to be a blast. You have the owner, Michael, is coming up, and he is going to talk about his product. Hopefully, we do a podcast straight from the barrel room that night. So I'm really, really looking forward to doing that with the folks at Penelope. So there's that, okay? Nice. Now we're talking, I believe, end of August. I was talking to Tyler from Chicken Cock, Rothensberg, and he basically, Tyler was telling me and whatever, right there, that last weekend in August and the beginning of September, their Chicken Cock is going to be in the state of Ohio kind of doing a tour, and we're going to try and bring Greg Schneider up here for Chicken Cock tasting. Whatever we can do, we're going to try and set that up also. So there you go. We got a lot of different things happening, and we are excited. Remember, www.scotchybourbonboys.com. Check out everything Scotchy Bourbon Boys, top right-hand corner. Please hit the Patreon button. That's another thing that we didn't talk about that we'll talk about, but right. We did our first Scotchy Bourbon Boys barrel pick. It was with the barrel room. This is going to be called the Barrel Room Scotchy Bourbon Boys Select. It's a Knob Creek, 10 years, 8 months now. It's 10 years, 8 months, and it was 120.2 proof. It's barrel strength, folks. It is going in the bottle barrel strength. They're not going to have to add any water. That pick, we had Carrie, we had Xavier got in it, Roxy was in on it. Actually, I think with Carrie, her friend, Roxy, and Sandy this is a strong forward woman pick. we were the only two men on this pick. And we did agree with the women. There's no doubt about it.
Mom didn't raise any fools.
I think
no, seriously.
No,
yeah, everybody's
think
pretty unanimous on that choice. That was a fine barrel.
right. And so that should be available soon. We are going to start taking the way this is going to work, folks. Is we are going to you contact me for a voucher. And the way that works is the way to get a voucher is I will, once you contact me, I'm going to send you a QR code. Or is it a CR code? It's a CR code, right?
QR code.
QR code. I'm going to send you a code.
I think.
Email, text, whatever. Follow that code. It'll tell you what you need to do to get your voucher. Once you do everything you need to do, we're going to need all your personal information and everything. We will send out via text or email a voucher. You'll get your voucher, and then we will have specific vouchers for different needs and different pickup times. We plan to have a pickup party at the barrel room where you bring your voucher and pick up your bottle. But also there'll be other times when you can get it through me. And then also if you live in Kentucky and this comes through fast enough, we are going to have a pickup point hopefully at Kentucky Bourbon Festival where we'll have a time where you can pick up your bottle in Bardstown. So we've got a bunch of stuff going on, but I would say probably sometime next week, look for that announcement in the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. The first thing that is happening is we know how many bottles there are. It will become available to the actual people in the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. Then we will make available it to the group. And then once the group has been accounted for, then we will make it available to pretty much, I think it'll be the Ohio groups and the Kentucky groups. If they want in, we'll just let it out there and people will be able to get those vouchers. So that single barrel program. But hopefully down the line on Patreon, you'll be able to join Patreon for a fee, monthly fee. You will be able to have access to all of our barrel picks. We plan on doing more barrel picks, folks, and this one was a good one, but we are excited and hopefully that'll happen soon. So click that Patreon, support us, find some way to support us. We pulled in a couple more Patreon people. Please, thank you very, very much for your support. We take all the support and put it back in. There's equipment, you gotta buy bourbon, there's places to go. Our game has been upped and we've been doing a lot more traveling, but even gasoline, look at how much that
our
costs.
game's been upped and so has the price of gasoline. But something that I want to mention, because sometimes we forget, is not only is our game up, but our membership is up. We now have 924 members of our Facebook group, and I would like to welcome the latest. We've got, let's see this. Here we go. Old men reading.
Here's that section. It's old
men reading badly.
Yeah.
Okay, we got Andy Rushton, Ostelet, Grace Hogan Fitzmaurice, Joni Clark, Jessica Zaleski, Stacy Pritchard, and I don't see on here, but I'm going to call you out anyhow. Hello to Chris Thompson.
Yeah, he was part of the group a little bit before.
A little bit before this bunch? Okay.
Yeah,
got it.
That's why he came, because he kind of knew us.
I see. Okay, well, at any rate, it was great seeing
Chris at the...
Yeah, that a member
right.
came to see us. We had a great time there down at Mother Stewart's.
Well, Andy and Grace are going to be having... they were suggested by Martin Duffy, our Glencairn glass representative. And Martin, by the way, I'm going to be placing an order real soon so we can get that in by Kentucky Bourbon Festival. We've been selling those things like hotcakes lately. But Martin Duffy had Andy and Grace. They are going to be doing in November, I think 10th and 11th, which is a Thursday and Friday, a bourbon barbecue event, and they want us to come and podcast. So I'm going to be contacting Andy and Grace to see what we can set up to do in November.
What day in November?
It's the 11th and 10th and 11th. I think it's a Thursday and a Friday. Like I said, I just found out about that, hoping to make it work. I'm going to. I'll just have to basically somehow pull vacation days out of my ass.
We'll have to do that. And we had a great time. Andy Camden was just really great to meet him, and he was an outstanding host for us that Tuesday night. It was just a lot of fun. We also got a tour of their brewery. Got to sample some really tasty beer expressions, and it was just a fun time.
A lot of bourbon, and then also
and a lot of bourbon.
We got to taste. Shout out to Bill Hockett. Got to taste a little bit of what he has. He had that nice coffee liqueur, and then also a pretty tasty gin that they had brought up from Dayton Barrel Works for us to taste, and then also this one I want to say Hayner. That's it, Hayner.
Out of Troy,
and
Ohio,
his name was
Greg
or Steve.
It was Mr. Hayner.
Anyways, he is blending some delicious stuff up there, and it was a really good time. But this Andy is different. This is a different Andy. Andy and Grace are introduced to us from Martin Duffy as far as getting us to help out, and they want podcasters down there in Louisville. So Louisville is going to start to become our hot spot between Dayton, Columbus, Springfield, and Louisville.
We need to push to have a high-speed rail system
or something.
Yeah.
Something like that, although my foot is high speed. Woo! All right, so once you push that Patreon, now that is like a big long thing to get back to this Patreon thing. But please support us, and then also know that we are on all major podcast formats. Now I'm going to do this one: Twitter, Facebook, group, and page. Also, Jeffrey Mueller, if you want to find me. I have a personal account that I do a lot of whiskey stuff also. Then we are on Instagram. We are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and I believe that's it, right? Yes, I think that covers it. Check us out. I think I said Twitter.
Did you say Twitter?
Yeah, Twitter, Facebook,
I knew I
Instagram.
heard it somewhere.
Yeah, it's all there. So we've been doing shorts. Check out our shorts. You could actually go and watch a bottle chug on TikTok. So that was fun. And then thank you for your support. But when you're there, please like, comment, and subscribe. We really need that helps out on the algorithm. We are picking up on YouTube. There's no doubt about it. Starting to pick up on YouTube. Getting some more base on the main podcast. Getting good stuff on the shorts. The Tiny's 10-minute tastings still has to take a hold, and so does our live tastings. We took off this month for the Whiskey Live based off all the traveling we're doing. We will pick that back up in July. So we'll have a couple tastings coming up then. So there you go. We covered all that. One of the things I did want to cover is, we did the barrel pick, and Sandy was there, and it was just a great experience. We basically didn't think, we thought we were only going to have 4. We ended up having everybody was able to help and participate. And then afterwards, we had a wonderful meal at the kitchen table.
Right.
I mean, and Sandy wasn't able to join us for that, but we had such a good time picking.
That was Beth. That was
yes, Beth.
Yeah. Showed us a great time, and
I'm planning
treated
on
us to a great dinner.
I will throw in some of the video on the YouTube on this particular podcast. Everybody, this would be the spot where I throw it in. You can see some of the stuff that goes on, but I'm also going to make a barrel pick specific non-podcast event from that day. Same thing coming up. I've been going on the Kentucky Bourbon Festival barrel picks this year. I went on what we're talking about today, the Elijah Craig with Conor O'Driscoll. I have some video on that. I went on the new riff with Barry from RD1, and then Randy was there, and I got a lot of good footage with the new Scotchy Bourbon Boys iPhone 13. I'm going to do barrel picking with Kentucky Bourbon Festival, specific videos for YouTube coming out. So look for those. And I also was on the Wilderness Trail with Macaulay. Jason Thompson was there from Justin Thompson from Justin's House of Bourbon. And then also Randy was there, and and Macaulay from Wilderness Trail. So I've got those, so we're going to make that also. Okay. Yep. But then we did and look for, we already have the Log Still Distillery YouTube out, plus all the podcasts on when we went down to the Bourbon Capital Barbecue Challenge. When we went down there, Luca Mariano, we did
Greg Schneider
Chicken Cock, we did Wally and Charlie Dant, and we also did Elena from
Kentucky Peerless Distillery.
Yep, from Peerless. So we were able to do that. Those are all out on the podcast, and then also what is also out on the podcast was last week when we went to Mother Stewart's with Andy Camden. He invited us up there. We did not know we were rock stars until we got there. He made us rock stars. He put us main frickin' stage. We podcasted with him, but basically the Scotchy Bourbon Boys are a lot more well known in Springfield, Ohio
than we are in
Kansas.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. I mean, it's like, what was going on, you know, as far as that goes? It's just like, I was just taken back on, what was going on.
Usually when somebody wants me to autograph something, it's either the UPS or the FedEx man.
Yeah, and just we autographed staves for charity.
We autographed
Roxy
posters.
was with us. Smoked some cigars. Normally I'm not a cigar smoker, but I did. I did a post today, so maybe I can pull it off the post real quick. Right? Let's see. I should be able to get there myself, right? Get right there.
One can only hope.
God darn it. It's on the Scotchy Bourbon Boys.
Pressure.
I got to go to the groups. I go to mine and I never put the pictures. And
we're all just waiting. That's all.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. I know how Facebook works. I do it every day. Now we're at the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. Okay, so here it is. Now you get to read. No, okay.
Oh, shit.
No, it's Minette's. It's Minette's barbershop and cigar shop, and he was there. His and if you check out, he's in Springfield. He's a barbershop. He does barbershop styling, and he owns a cigar shop. So he really kind of.
He's been there. Did he say 1975?
Been there, yes.
So he's well established.
And the cigar that he had, and he gave me. I'm gonna try and see this one. It wasn't. I mean, he gave me this cigar, and I was so happy that I said to him, I'm not a big cigar smoker, and one of the reasons why this is a backhouse cigar, and
good luck.
You're the one with the glasses on. Okay, it's upside down.
That helps.
Backhouse double Connecticut, USA.
You had this plan.
Backhouse.
Brick House.
Brick House?
Brick House Double Connecticut. Corona Larga, 6 1/4.
Does this say does this say Brick House?
Mm-hmm.
Or does that say Backhouse?
Yeah, it says Brick House.
Frick. It says Frick House. Anyways, it's a brick house, and I said to him,
Commodore.
well, I said, I just don't like smoking cigars that when I wake up the next day, I've been drinking bourbon and I have a cigar, and all of a sudden I wake up and all I can taste is a cigar ashtray ass in my mouth, because the ashtray turned to ass while I was sleeping. So he's like, okay, I'll take care of you. And he brings this over. And honestly, the next day I woke up, I did not taste a cigar in my mouth. Had a good amount, drove home that night, but it wasn't that. It was a nice light cigar. So coming up, we are going to be podcasting on the back deck. I'll set it up in the back deck, and we'll do a nice podcast out there one night, one of the nights, and I'll give this a try, see if I can get a good pairing on it. So I'm going to put this in my father-in-law's, who's passed, and he gave me his humidor, which I gave to him as a gift because he smokes cigars, and then he returned it to me after he passed. So I'll just drop this baby in there and keep it nice and humidified. Yes. So there you go, and that was a fantastic thing. I mean, honestly, that evening was all the evenings we did the barrel pick. The one night, I mean, let's just talk about John, Spicer, and his wife, Sherry, yes. Sherry and John Spicer from this area, in the Ohio area. But we were invited to their house. And I'm not going to give any details, but the only detail that I'll give is that John has in his house, instead of a book library,
he has a spirits library.
He has put bourbon and whiskey, more of a whiskey library, right? Because I didn't see much more than whiskey in there.
You got a little bit of everything.
Instead of books, and he had everything. That was. So we had finished up at Kentucky Bourbon Festival. So the first night that we were
the barbecue.
At the barbecue, okay, I'm going to do it. Bourbon Capital Barbecue Challenge.
Excellent, you nailed it.
The first day we were there when all the distilleries were competing in the barbecue. We kind of hung out, set up, got ready, did a pre-podcast, but then we kind of partied with the distilleries, right? And Randy a little bit. And we ended up at Scout and Scholar with the people from Luca Mariano.
Right.
Randy was there, Double O Kate, so El Presidente.
And their friends Ken and Stacy, who
right,
were just wonderful folks to sit down and have a drink and chew the fat with. It was a pleasure meeting them.
Yeah, yes. And then, so we... Wow.
Who let the dogs out?
Damn it! It's like tonight is just tonight is, oh my God, woman. Okay, tonight is a disaster when it comes to outside influences.
Well, it wouldn't be a Scotchy Bourbon Boy podcast if we didn't have a few little
blips
there.
But yeah. So we were at Scout and Scholar that night, and we went to bed. We kind of stayed out late, but we were able to get up the next morning. We did a really great breakfast. Where did we go to breakfast? Well, we did Mammy's the first day.
Right.
But then the next day
we went to that smaller place.
Right. That was what did he call it? It's a woman named Sam's.
I don't remember.
Samantha's or what?
No.
It was Sarah's or whatever. He told me I had gone there with Randy before, and it's just a little place in Bardstown.
One of those shotgun rooms.
I think they're all that way there on the square.
Yeah.
But had breakfast, and then we went over to Heaven Hill and did the experience.
You do bourbon.
You do bourbon. We kind of covered that a little bit. It's part of we'll talk about a little bit more when we get into
that was Friday. We
to
did
Elijah
this.
Craig.
We had our breakfast at Mammy's on Friday, which was just outstanding. And then we went over to...
Oh, yeah. So the next day on Saturday, we did the breakfast, and then we went right over to the distillery, right?
We went to... we went to Log Still. Yeah, where the challenge
right
was.
over there.
And we podcasted with
for
4 different groups. We podcasted with that really nice lady, Jenny, too.
Ginny, yeah.
And her last name is escaping me.
Yeah, Ginny was the first one we did. We had already done our own. We did Ginny to start off. Then we did Elena from Peerless. Then we did Chicken Cock with Ryan and Greg. Then we ended up doing Luca Mariano with the whole group. Kenny, shout out to Kenny and Jennifer, man.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Ryan
then on that Friday, I got to meet Antonio Freeman, my childhood idol. I mean, it goes
what a
Brett
cool
Favre,
dude.
Antonio Freeman for me.
Packers great from the 90s.
And we hope to have him on the podcast because he is a brand ambassador for Luca Mariano.
And a bourbon enthusiast.
And he he likes the brand, so he's been doing stuff with them. Hope to see more. They made the announcement that they are soon going to be announcing their master distiller, so they're going to do that coming up. They just opened up Luca Mariano just opened up their rick house. They're in Dansville, so they actually have a built rick house, so everything they're distilling that they distilled in the past went into the rick house, and everything they're distilling now is going into the rick house. And they're going to be breaking ground on the next step of what they're going to be building there. It's fun to see that. And that was Luca Mariano. With Greg and Ryan, they're telling us it's the summer of the rooster. I mean, they had the island rooster there. It's the summer of the rooster.
Oh, the rum finish.
Right,
yeah,
rum.
We did a whiskey live on the last whiskey live we did was the
Island Rooster.
Yeah,
yes.
That's a fantastic.
So Greg was
expression.
there, had him on. He gave an update on everything. I was looking at Whiskey Advocate today, and their 20-year-old whiskey, that Canadian whiskey that they had out in the tin, that got a high score and was in Whiskey Advocate.
Very
so
good.
Congratulations to Chicken Cock. Hold on. I need some bourbon is what I need. So I'm going to pour a little bit. Let's I've got this single barrel, which I've never had, from the state of Ohio. And it's a 94 proof, but this was last year's pick. Now this year they just released their version, and it was a single barrel, but it was barrel strength. So, based off that, I've got this single barrel, and I want to pop this baby open, and let's get some in our glass. We'll get a little bit.
Let's get a glass to put it in.
There's right up there. I'm going to... Oh, that smells delicious right off the bat. We'll get rid of that neck pour. All right. This one's yours.
No, it's yours.
No, that one's yours because that's little. I was nice to you. I won't just get you...
yes, seeing as how I have to drive home, that would be good. Which I will wait a significant period of time, as I always do.
So, this, we'll just get this in. Oh my God, that has an unbelievable nose.
Oh, that's got a spice.
Vanilla.
It's got some sort of a spice. There's vanilla. There's definitely sweet on there. Perhaps
cake icing.
There's some floral.
I get vanilla and cake icing. Oh, let me taste this. Now my palate's just been shocked. It's pretty damn good for Elijah Craig. A lot of cinnamon.
A lot of caramel. Not getting the cake icing.
No,
I'm not doubting.
I'm not getting cake icing on the taste either. I still get it on the nose. It's delicious. For a 94 proof, that's pretty damn spicy.
It's spicy. It gets a little oaky on the side palate.
I'm getting a little oak too on the finish.
Yeah, and the sweetness sort of diminishes, but it's delicious. So,
all right,
tell me when you want me to make a fool out of myself reading here.
So we're still going on what we were talking with Greg. We haven't gotten to this. I just need something in my throat. We'll get there. But with Greg, and Ryan, they're going to be coming up into Ohio. We're excited about this, everything that's happening there. So then, also, when we were talking to Elena from Peerless, they have some big news coming up soon, too. I mean, what they're going to be releasing. So listen to that podcast. But the last podcast we did of the day, and it was when it was over, we were able to get Wally Dant. Log Still is a supporter of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. They've been, I mean, Chickencock is, and Luca Mariano, the people, and Francesco and Greg Schneider, they're supportive of us. But Wally basically, and Lynn and Charles, they basically support us financially, and we really much appreciate their contribution to allow us to keep doing what we're doing. And one of the things is we're watching them grow, like we watch Luca Mariano, like we're watching Greg at Chickencock doing his thing at Bardstown Bourbon Company, but we're also watching Wally and Lynn and Charles grow, and they were like nothing, and now they've got the distillery should be running. I believe this week they were running the water. That's what Charlie said, not last week, but this week they're running water, and they should be running by tomorrow. They might be pulling whiskey off their stills, which is amazing. That didn't even exist when we first went down there. I went down there. They had the gift shop and the tasting room almost finished. They had their bed and breakfast, but their offices were in houses across the street. Their gift shop was in, they didn't have the gift merchandise. Now they've got an amphitheater. The gift shop, since then, they've got a small still running inside the gift shop. But they've also then built the distillery, and when I got my first tour, Charles took me, and the house that is now the bridal suite for the brides and the bride and the bridesmaid to stay the night before their wedding used to be his family home, and it was in ruin. And he was so excited that it was going to be redone, and it's redone. So that's done. And then they just opened the Legacy Event Center. And you have to, if you just go watch the video of, I've released the Dant YouTube, and we've released the Dant podcast, and it was just amazing, wasn't it? I mean, the event center was fantastic.
It is. It's a beautiful location.
It's got the room outside. It's right next to their cornfield. I mean, they had tents and things outside.
You get to see bourbon in its infancy.
Right. And it was just where they had the smokers and everybody set up for the competition, where they had all the tables and the announcements, and then inside this beautiful event center. Thank you to Randy Prossi for putting on the Bourbon Capital Barbecue Challenge.
And thanks to Randy for his hospitality, getting us set up, getting us in the perfect place to conduct our podcasts and everything he did for us. Thanks, Randy.
Yeah. So that was the that. And then on the way home, when we're coming back, we stop up at Castle and Key. I picked up a Restoration Rye. And what a beautiful...
It is. And Castle and Key, as you pointed out, was the first tour-centric distillery that was opened
by
years ago.
By Colonel Taylor.
Yeah, it was the original home of Colonel E.H. Taylor. Of course, that's now under the wing and guidance of Buffalo Trace. But
Redemption, I do not believe, is owned by Sazerac. I think it's something different.
No, but Buffalo Trace has the...
Oh, E.H. Taylor. Yes. But the distillery is called the Old Taylor Distillery. Actually, when Buffalo Trace, which would have been George T. Stagg, bought out E.H. Taylor when he was there. And then they built the distillery on the grounds where they are now. And eventually that distillery fell into...
disarray,
and other people, and then eventually was uninhabited, and now they're bringing it back.
Right.
But it was really cool when you're
the
there.
Home of Castle and Key, and man, I'll tell you what, it's quite the place to be. Very, very aesthetically pleasing, and
The grounds are amazing.
Yeah, they are amazing, and they make a mean Bloody Mary there too. Because that was breakfast on Sunday.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then we got home. I did the barrel pick at New Riff. Look for a special YouTube on that. That was fun. Thank you again, Randy, for having me. It was just an amazing. Barry from RD1, he was there. Just the pick was a lot of fun. It was unique for me. Every single barrel pick I go on, I'm happy. Now, I was able to initially, this pick, when I was tasting, I initially had picked I had picked 2 barrels out of the 5 that I liked. Well, my number 1 barrel and my number 2 barrel were flipped around in the end. Myself and Randy were outnumbered, and we ended up switching them. But I was able to bring a sample of the one I liked and a sample of that barrel pick. And when I tasted it and gave my wife a blind tasting, and I tasted it, it actually was the right pick. I liked the pick over the one that I thought I liked at the distillery. So you just never know how it's going to go.
Of course not, no.
So then, once again, we talked about going up with Andy a little bit. You know, that's where we're at. And now we're on the eve and the cusp of headed down to the Alan Bishop experience
to view
in
the
Louisville.
premiere of his documentary.
His documentary, the Alan Bishop experience, is Bo Cumberland following Alan Bishop around for 2.5 years. And it happened that myself and Xavier were part of
and
a
Super Nash.
Yeah, and Super Nash were a part of that. So we're invited to the opening, and we are going down there this Saturday night. But before that, we're going to be going to Watch Hill proper, and Stacy Pritchard is who I met at the Bourbon Capital Barbecue Challenge. She was working there, and she got us reservations at 3:00, so we got a full Saturday, and then Sunday, I'm working on it for myself and my wife, and you guys will head home. But another great experience that will be in the book.
We got to get home to our dogs.
All right, so here's what we got tonight. We're going to do this through this Elijah Craig. This is Heaven Hill. This is Connor O'Driscoll, who's picking this stuff. He is in charge. He did not distill it. Danny Potter distilled it, who is now the master distiller at Maker's Mark. But Connor is in charge of the tasting and the blending of these batches. So, do you remember what they talked about as far as the numbers? A 121, B whatever, how it went. I think it was A, B, and C. A was in the beginning of the year. B was in the middle, and C was at the end, right? I mean, that's how the batches work.
I seem to think,
but they did have A121, I believe, was March. I think it's B520 is May. Wait, A121. So January. It's A121. This is B520. So this is from 2020. So B is the second release, 5 is the month, and 20 is the year.
That makes sense.
So we've got A121, which would have been January 2021. This was B520. That would have been May of 20. And the one that my wife has, which makes sense because this is, I'm going to get this up. This is Y622, which it's June of 22. So, and this is Y, meaning the gift shop. The Y is the B, and the whatever is A, B, and C is based off, but 520. So that's what we've got here as far as barrel proofs. We just tasted this single barrel. We are about to taste this toasted barrel. Now, toasted barrel has been my favorite. Got a couple bottles here. This was last year's. This is not the newest release. There just was a new release, but when you got 2 bottles saved up. Now, everybody, just for your information, The toasted barrel.
Good.
Toasted barrel is what Tiny chugged. So you can go back on TikTok and also back into the Facebook areas and YouTube also, and check out my bottle chug of toasted barrel. But I'm looking forward to it because that's the last time I had it. But this time I really want to give it a taste and a smell. Now that's a lot more peppery. Don't you agree?
I'm getting, like, hence the name toasted barrel. I'm getting some char, like the toasted to slightly burnt marshmallow.
I get a toast and I get a pepper. Almost a jalapeno, but it's like a black pepper. Now I'm hoping the nose on... Actually, it's bizarre. I like toasted barrel. Out of all the stuff, I've always thought I liked toasted barrel. But, my palate keeps changing. Now, at this point, now that we're doing... You could do the...
I don't want to. No. I wanted to do it 10 minutes ago and you waved me off.
Yeah, but now we're into Elijah Craig.
We were drinking Elijah Craig.
Yeah, but that was just to wet my whistle so I don't cough. We didn't start the tasting, you bastard.
Oh. Well, if that's all you got, I know I'm right. Let's see here.
You want more? I can give you more, that's for sure. All right.
All right.
Wow.
Do you really want me to start?
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay, Elijah Craig. So, Reverend Elijah Craig was a Baptist preacher, an educator, and an entrepreneur who built the first paper and wool mills in Georgetown, Kentucky. But for all his industries, it was his gift as a distiller and an innovator that brought him his greatest acclaim. While we draw inspiration from parts of Elijah Craig's story, his legacy will forever be stained by his connection to slavery. Like other Kentucky landowners of his generation, Elijah Craig owned slaves. Uncovering the roles of these laborers, how they contributed to the birth of the bourbon industry, and what happened to them and their families is a critical mission of our brand today. Elijah Craig actively engaged in academic research and other initiatives to not just uncover the past, but to make America today a more just and equitable country.
What the fuck just happened? Keep
I'm just reading what it says.
I understand that's right off the Elijah Craig website. Holy shit.
In 1789, Elijah Craig became the first distiller to age his whiskey in new charred oak barrels. Some claim that an accidental fire charred his barrels and changed the whiskey inside. Others say he stored his whiskey in former sugar barrels and was impressed with how charring improved the flavor. Today, Elijah Craig is still known to all as the father of bourbon. However it happened, Elijah Craig knew he had discovered something great. He continued to refine the barrel charring process, imparting smooth, rich flavor to the spirit that would become known as bourbon. 250 years later, he is still known as the father of bourbon, and we craft our bourbon today using the same time-honored methods.
All right, so then some also say that's a crock of shit because nobody really knows who and how charring started. There's lots of different things, but there's not actual documented.
Yeah, we don't even know how bourbon actually got its name. There's several stories on that. One is that because ancestors from France and they named it after the French royal family. Another is because that was the county's name, and when they shipped the whiskey down the Mississippi River, the barrels would be stamped bourbon because they came from Bourbon County. And there's probably half a dozen other stories.
If you go to Old Pogue, which is right on the river, on the Ohio River, when you go into from Maysville, and he's right there in Maysville. you basically, they have that story, and they have that story written as if it's history. Like, when they tell you that story, it's believable. Now, I've been at Elijah Craig, or at Heaven Hill, and when they tell you that story, they tell you like it's a grain of salt, that it's what they're going with, but Elijah Craig, it's not, this is just a story. It could be true, and it's probably not. And they know that. But when you're talking about the origin of the bourbon name, when you're right there in Maysville, they 100% are like, that's really how it was. They don't go, well, maybe that's how it was. They've got papers saying that, newspaper clippings and everything. But then again, it's still not proven either. So I mean, Bourbon Street, bourbon, but however it happened, it's like whiskey. I mean, whiskey evolves and keeps going, but there's a lot of times where you don't remember what the fuck happened. And it's kind of, that story is like everybody was drinking whiskey and they were having a good time, so they really didn't give a shit how it was or how the origin was coming about.
The stamping of the barrels is probably the most viable one, but I'm open to discussion on that. That's just from what I've read.
From bourbon, yeah. But also when it comes to this, I mean, honestly, the reason why you're going to burn out a barrel is you ship pickles and you want to ship whiskey, so you're going to freaking start the inside on fire, burn out all the pickle juice and shit, and get down on the wood, and then throw the bourbon in there, knowing that the char ain't gonna hurt it. There's stories. Then there was a barn burned down, and someone used the wood from the barn to do it, and it was charred. And then they noticed it was better. I mean, there's so many different stories, but that's who Elijah Craig was. He was a preacher, a distiller. There's no denying that. How it all came about? Did he invent bourbon? I mean, as far as the charring and everything, the whole process for making bourbon, who the hell knows? Maybe it's a possibility, so it's out there. But I can tell you that Heaven Hill today is making some damn fine fucking bourbon and putting that name on it.
Yep.
And so Elijah Craig. So this toasted barrel, there's a little bit more caramel. There is that pepper, and that is a delicious. There's an aspect of char there that matches the nose.
Yep.
This matches the nose way better than the single barrel. The single barrel had a creamy, rich vanilla nose, and it was still a good tasting bourbon, but they were completely different of what you were tasting. This toasted barrel, I know why I like it. So that's toasted barrel. And toasted barrel also is 94 proof. Now we're going to get into that B20. And this barrel, now I, in the past, have enjoyed barrel strength. I mean, toasted barrel more than barrel strength. I've liked the toasted barrel. I wasn't impressed. But this has been sitting around since May of 20. And we all know what happens to bourbon when it sits around. For a couple years, it gets better. Ready?
Not yet.
Now that is back.
Splash.
Of course.
Good.
I know what good is. You don't have to say it every time.
Yeah, I do.
No, I got you. I tip it and tip it back. I can't give you any less by a pour than I'm giving you. Fucker. I promise you. I know what you're...
You don't want to kill me.
Well, there's some nights you say, don't kill me, and then you make me kill you.
Right.
Hey, is that all you're going to give me?
Yeah.
Hey, and then there's some nights
I never said that.
No, and there's
as
some,
he rolls all the clips of me saying it.
And then there's some nights it's like I give you a little bit of each one, and then you're like, oh, is it over? Yeah. He goes, I could take a that
maybe
one.
not quite like that, but yes.
All right. I love the nose on this one. This 520. This is the best nose. I get cherry. You know what this is like? A cherry vanilla cupcake. It's that. It's a cherry vanilla cupcake. It is so good smelling. That's one of the best bourbon noses I've had. That's really damn good. Well, you gotta admit. Amaretto.
Yeah,
Amaretto,
I'm getting amaretto where you kind of vacillating between or waffling between cherry and almond. Yeah.
Yeah, but cherry or amaretto. I mean,
and I get you the cupcake because it kind of reminds you of almond icing.
And then holy shit, nose directly matches
everything.
Oh, wait, this is a cherry amaretto vanilla cupcake, but then someone set the fucker on fire.
It's a
flaming
flambe, cupcake flambe.
And I just drank it before I put the fire.
Yeah.
Woo!
What was the proof on that?
Oh, I believe on this file. Let's see. What am I doing here? It's the shorter one, yeah. This proof on this. Let's hit. I got it. I thought I did. Fucking. Oh, really? 127.2. Nice.
It's up there.
Now the proof on the next. Now see. So what I want to do is stress. Okay, you got your toasted barrel, 94. You get a little bit more oaky, a little bit more rich taste. You got the single barrel, which is, separate. And if you look at this single barrel, look at that color. It's like a caramel color. But you look at this toasted barrel, and it's a reddish caramel, right? You see the difference in those two colors. But then you come up to that barrel strength, and it's even redder, right?
Right.
I mean, I drank a whole bottle of toasted beer all at once. So, anyways, oh my God, that. You finish that yet?
I'm working on it.
That's delicious. Okay, folks, B520. I wish everybody could do this. So it's 2 years old. May of 20. It's now June of 2022. And I don't know if it was this good in May of 20 when I opened it. But I can tell you, this is a complex, delicious dessert bourbon that if I was going to rate this, it's going to get above a 90. It's that good. Compared to the other ones, they don't even compare to that, do they?
This is more of a dessert bourbon where the other ones were cigar bourbons.
All right, so we got that one. So let's get the A20 120. So this would be the batch they made, in January of 2021, 7 months later, right? Lower proof, 123.6. This has been opened and tasted. Let's see what a year and a half does. Ooh.
Nice pop.
I'm not your pop.
I wasn't talking to you.
I didn't think you were. I'm trying to learn just a little. Okay.
You're like letting Joe Biden ride a bicycle.
You're making me laugh. I didn't fall off the bike. Anyways, let's do what that A120. I don't even know if there's enough. I did a good job right there.
You actually did.
That's a swashbuckler's pour.
A swashbuckler's pour. That's it.
Okay, so this returns back to the toasted barrels. It's got a lot of pepper in this one. This is more like the toasted barrel, more like the Elijah Craig. That other one, isn't that weird how they just change? Mm-hmm. So, folks, when someone says which batch, now you can understand that those batches, they release 3 batches a year, A, B, C. A121, so it gives you the month and the year, and A is the first release of that year, B is the second, C is the third, and then if you got a Y, that comes from the
special.
Yeah, I don't know if I
release.
Hey, Rach, can we taste yours or open that up, or are you forbidding us to?
You're forbidden.
I thought I'd ask. All right, let's taste this 121. Yeah, but the nose doesn't. That's some sweet stuff going on there. That's delicious, isn't it?
That's really good.
The little bit less proof. There's no pepper. The pepper I was getting on the nose isn't there. I'm trying to get what the sweetness is.
The sweetness is more of the cherry and maybe some like orange zest or something.
Cherry? But maybe a little caramel too. There's some caramel in there.
There is
the
some
other
caramel,
ones
but
really
you know what flavor you might be picking up in there is like a date or fig.
All right, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to say that. Oh, that was so perfect, but it was inappropriate.
God knows we wouldn't want to be there.
I'm never fucking inappropriate, am I? All right, so that covers that. So the last expression that we're going to taste here. Now, this is 132. This came from the gift shop. Roxy's not allowing us to open it, so I'll just show it to you. She labeled it and bottled it. And cleaned the bottle too, and dried it. So you see they give you this little tag up here. Tells you what it was, when, 610, 132.8. Yeah, the whole thing. So it's kind of cool. So we'll just say that. Xavier kind of dropped the ball because he was supposed to bring his and we would have had no problem. But you didn't remember. That's all right.
I barely made it over here. It was a long day.
I am grateful, and I don't think we needed it.
Probably not.
No. So this is.
I will say this. Let me add one thing. Something that I learned that I never really did. Most of you already know this, but for those of you that don't, sometimes with these high proof barrel strength bourbons, and I found that to be true with the 132.8 expression that we bottled a couple weeks ago. Just a couple droplets of water into your Glencairn or shot glass or whatever you're using, and let it sit just for a moment or two with a droplet or two of water really opens it up and really gives you a burst of flavor and takes away a little bit of, if you're tasting pepper, it kind of takes that away. It's only lowering the proof by less than 10%, and it's something you ought to try. I was quite amazed by it.
So this is really quite an amazing bottle because this was bottled 11/4/19. This is the 18 year. But if you go back to our first podcast was 11/4/19. This was bottled when we started the podcast.
Wow, that's amazing.
So I didn't realize that. This is 90 proof. It is a single barrel. It's Elijah Craig 18 year. Now this is an aged bourbon where these don't even have age statements on them, the single barrels. So they're usually anywhere between it's Kentucky, so it's 4 to 7 years is what's going into the Elijah Craig blends. This is a single barrel that was 18 years old. And it was bottled 11/4/19 on the anniversary or the birth of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. So here we go. Now this one I can have a little more of. How are you feeling?
I feel fine. But just give me like you.
Do you have a
did
little
last time.
tingle between you?
What?
Here we go again. Tweak, tweak, tweak. Oh, sorry.
That's all
A
right.
little more
No,
stuff.
that's fine.
I still have this. This should be the 3rd year anniversary, right? 22 from 19. That'll be 3 years. In
Your
July,
math is correct.
Everybody, go to, if you have an Apple iPhone, go get an app for the Maker's Mark Ambassador program. You basically fill out the app and everything, and they start sending you gifts. They name a barrel put your name on a barrel, and when it becomes mature after 7 years, sometime, they will bottle, and you can buy bottles from your barrel that you barreled, And right now, in July, I will go to 3 years as far as an ambassador. I can't wait to get down there on that 7th year, buy my bottles. And once you're an ambassador and you follow that program and you pick up those bottles, they make you an ambassador for life. There is automatically 10% off the gift shop. There's so much stuff that's involved. Maker's Mark really has a great program, and it's just an app on your phone. It's all you have to do. They send you this big kit. I mean, you get a certificate. I've got that framed hanging. It tells you what your barrel, when it happened, when to come. You get cards as a brand ambassador for Maker's Mark. It's a really good program. Getting back to this Elijah Craig, once again, this is a single barrel. It's 18 years, and it's actually now 21 years since it's been put in that barrel, 3 years in the bottle, and it's done a little bit of aging because this is the first bottle of 18 year that I got, courtesy of Super Nash.
Yep.
All right. Oh, it's so vanilla-y. Wow. I like that. It holds vanilla. It holds a little bit of apple. Like a red apple.
Or a Granny Smith.
Yeah. There's some apple in there. There's some oak.
And you get, it's funny that you said apple, because my side palate taste reminds me of, in a small way, apple cider vinegar. I'm getting a sour, acidic taste on the side and back palate. And
that would be the mixture of the oak that's there. I mean, for an 18-year-old barrel.
But it tastes like apple cider vinegar.
Yeah. Which is not bad.
I mean, on the back. On the front, you have the sweet and
I'd love
spicy.
to have apple cider vinegar. I mean, if you just start if all the whiskey would just, instead of making me go this way, it would make me go that way.
And that's the secret of my success.
All right. So this is just a level of bourbon that is.
We've moved away from the dessert bourbon back to the cigar bourbon with this expression.
Yeah, but this bourbon is not what those others are. I mean, this is a lot silkier, a lot more. It's a softer. Those had some good body, but this, when you drink it, it's kind of like the difference between taking a bunch of pallets, starting them on, like 40 pallets, starting them on fire outside. That's what Elijah Craig's Barrel and Toasted is. This is like sitting down when you turn on your gas fireplace. You know what I mean? It's just a nice, warm, soft, relaxed. This is a relaxing, where that's got some, hey, let's party a little bit in there. You know the difference.
Yeah, but this still, you get more bitter side and back palate, and on the finish, there's a bitterness.
I just get a little bit of oak on the finish. I don't get bitter.
Yeah, I would definitely consider this a cigar bourbon.
I got a little char.
Definitely char there.
But it's so, those other ones are got that big. This is, like, all I can say is it's silks down. There's a little bit of a hug. But when you think about it, I said this is 90 proof, right? 45 ABV. Yeah, this is 90 proof. So of the ones, this is the least proof. And you're not usually supposed to drink this. You're supposed to go proof up.
Increasing and not
But at the
descending.
same time, this is an 18 year, and this is what you want to finish with. This is an end of the day bourbon that you worked this is what you should be drinking tonight when you go home. Just have a little bit of a pour of that before you sit down in your chair and,
and lapse into a coma like I usually do.
Right, but this goes along with the lapsing into the coma. This
Right.
is just calm. Where those are, you're up, you're drinking, you're getting your pours, you're having fun, that kind of thing. There's a definite difference. All right. So once again, this is from Heaven Hill. The 18-year-old, I don't even think it's Danny Potter. I don't even know who 18 years ago was putting down the bourbon
Right.
for Heaven Hill, but I would say that the other stuff you got, Connor knows what he's doing as far as the taste. All of them straight across the board. I like last year's. I do. I was impressed with last year's state pick of Elijah Craig small. I didn't even know I had this. I thought this was just small batch. I didn't know it was a small batch single barrel from the state of Ohio. I picked that up. They just came out with their barrel strength. There was 10 bottles. Tried to get a bottle. There was 10 barrels, but I tried to get a bottle. Lately those Ohio picks are tough to get. You got to be in the right place at the right time.
Ohio is thirsty for bourbon, and it's not going to quench its thirst anytime soon, I don't think.
Right. Well, the state of Ohio is doing a wonderful job.
They're really on it, more so than they've ever been.
Yeah. Jim and Ann are totally on it. We got some big things planned. Hopefully I get to do another Kentucky Bourbon Festival pick. I know I would love to do that. Wink, wink. And also hopefully get to go on a couple Ohio picks. I know those are coming up. Those happen all the time lately. So once again, everybody, we did our first ever Barrel Room Scotchy Bourbon Boys select pick of Knob Creek.
And that was incredible to go to the Rick House and have them roll the barrels out. And we got to, I actually got to use the bung hammer to pop the bungs and thiefed bourbon, which was the first time I'd ever done that. It's just amazing. And to be able to do that, to be able to do it at Jim Beam's, and to be able to do it with
Warehouse.
Sandy No.
Was it K? Warehouse K?
I believe it was. To be able to have Sandy No be part of it with us was just really special.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Look for those special YouTube videos of
Yeah, and so that bottle, that was Sandy No's choice. We were all unanimous on it, and she, this is a woman who's been around bourbon most of her life. And
what?
She was in agreement with us.
Oh yeah, the pick, the pick that we had of the two of the three barrels, two were exceptional, but one kind of stood out from the other as far as how it would be drinkable, and it wasn't going to be proofed down, and everybody was in agreement. We had
it was fantastic.
All six of us pretty much agreed.
We did them all, then we re-thiefed them and had another sample, and everybody
blind.
Zeroed in. Yeah.
So, all right, folks. Remember, we're the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. We're on all social media formats, and all right, I'm going to try it one. There's 5: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok.
Nailed it.
Boom. Also, we are on all podcast formats. Make sure, listen, like, and subscribe. Remember, everybody, go out there, live your life. Bourbon and whiskey equals good friendship, good times, and go out there, live your life dangerously. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. Show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. For if we don't find the next whiskey bar, I tell you we must die. I tell you we must die. I tell you, I tell you, I tell you we must die.
Drinking bourbon, sipping on some scotch. We get a little wild, but it sure
you got a lot to say.
But even as I start, it's like, okay, we got some. Well, how are you going to fill out? Okay, we'll drink that. That'll take 15 minutes. Where's the other hour coming from?
Jeff, I've known you for 18 years, 17 years, almost 18. The one thing you don't have trouble doing is speaking your mind.
Well, and I guess there's at least 15 minutes of me ripping on you, and 10 minutes of you ripping on me. So
that kind of adds to it. Yeah.
So, everybody on YouTube, thanks for watching. Remember, we're going to be, just start looking for where we're going to be. There's going to be some good events coming up if you're in the Ohio, Canton area. There's going to be some stuff that's going to hit, and you're going to want to be a part of it. We will do as much as we possibly can to get out there and see everybody. You guys mean so much to us. All right? Good night.
Have a good evening.
The Watershed Story. A watershed moment might be pivotal, but it might also be quiet and fleeting. It could be a monumentous occasion, a cause for celebration, an enormous triumph, or a small daily victory. A watershed moment could be a rekindling or an observation or a gathering. Any opportunity to relish with friends and family. It's whatever you choose to cheers to, who you're gathered around, and whatever's worth celebrating. We founded Watershed Distillery on the principles of community in 2010. We wanted to live in, work in, and contribute to the community in which we grew up. We aimed to create spirits and stood apart in quality and character. Along the way, we set out to form a community of our own, one that could gather together to savor, celebrate, and enjoy good spirits and company. We've grown from a tiny little still and 2 guys in jumpsuits to a dedicated team of over 40 people and 2 much larger stills. If you're ever in the area, stop by so we can introduce you to our team and pour you some of our award-winning bourbon. Creating it was our watershed moment, but we want to hear about yours.